Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this channel, which is all about recovering from childhood trauma, especially that which is the result of having grown up with a narcissistic parent or having been immersed in a narcissistic family system. Uh, in case you don't know, and it's your first time here, a big welcome to you and to all those of you that come back and watch my videos. Thank you so much for your support of this channel. Um, my name is Christiana Davidson. I'm a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist, and I work with clients all around the world using those two things to help them really transform and break out of the web of the narcissistic family system so that they can be free, free to live a life that's not being held back from within by the internalized narcissistic parent. Okay, so the topic for today is competition in the narcissistic family system. Now, if you grew up with a narcissistic parent, I'm sure that you will have experienced this sort of sense of underlying competition in your family. And I'm not just talking about with the parent, it's kind of underlies the whole family system somehow. A sense of each one out for himself in some ways. And you may have experienced this also in terms of how your narcissistic parent brought you up. Now, what we need to think of here is, growing up in a narcissistic family, who's in charge of the family? Who's in charge of the family morals? Well, it's the narcissistic parent or parents. And if you recall, a narcissist is emotionally stunted. They haven't developed beyond the emotional age of 2 or 3 years old. Now, just sit with that for a minute. You've got somebody who's in charge of bringing up children, of being the adult in a house, and they are emotionally stuck at the same age as a 2 or 3-year-old. So that's how they are navigating the world. And if you think of a 2 or 3-year-old, I'm sure you will know just how narcissistic they are. They believe they should have everything. They're liable to snatch toys from other children just because they don't want them to have them. They throw tantrums when they don't get their way. They're competing with the other children to get the best toys. They're very, very driven by this need to get everything for myself, to snatch. And of course, a good parent helps them come out of this by developing a sense of empathy for the other. Okay. Narcissistic parents, narcissists in general, have two priorities. Okay. So when they're running a family, running a household, their two priorities are the same. They are to get attention, to get admiration. And that means daily attention, daily admiration. Where from? Well, from within the family unit, from behind closed doors, but also outside of the family unit of the home. So everything they do is about those two things, attention and admiration. So this means that the family itself is set up in a way that causes everyone to become part of their competition for admiration and attention. How does this happen in a nutshell? Well, it's like this. The narcissistic parent is on the throne as either the king or queen. Let's say the queen in this situation, the matriarch. She has the whole world, she believes, beneath her feet. And it's there to serve her kingdom. It's there to serve her. However, this matriarch is closest with their immediate family, who act as a buffer, hiding their inadequacy and shame from the world. They act as a sort of protective boundary between them and the world. Now, one of these family members are the children. The first one is a golden child, and the golden child is chosen to be brought up and is allowed near the throne. It's almost like the narcissistic parent is grooming the child to pass on the title to, as they do in the royal family, it gets passed down from father to son in the royal family. But here we're talking about a mother, getting her daughter ready, the golden child or son, to be next in line for the throne. The child, the golden child, boy or girl, is a grand reflection of the one who is at present on the throne. But then we have the scapegoat. Now, this child is key to this whole system holding together, because it's the child, the scapegoat, is a means of demonstrating how well the narcissistic parent fits into society, but also stands out, is extraordinary. How normal the narcissistic parent is compared to this child. This child is the contrast to what the narcissistic parent portrays to the world, to the family, to themselves. The scapegoat actually is the projected shadow self of the narcissistic parent. We also, in some families, have the invisible child. And this is the one that is there but not seen. So the golden child gets lots of positive attention and admiration, because it shares that with the narcissistic parent. The scapegoat gets negative attention and no admiration or fleeting experiences of those. Now, the invisible child just doesn't get attention, either positive or negative, really. They're just there, not worthy of any. And in this sense, the narcissistic parent is in control, and the child loses in the game of competition. So these three children are in competition with each other, whether they see it or not. Often the golden child doesn't feel like they are competing, actually. They don't need to, and often may not be consciously doing so. But the scapegoat and the invisible child will more than likely harbor resentment and wish to finally one day knock the golden child off of their mini throne. They wish to outdo the golden child, in other words, and take their place. This competitiveness doesn't end there, though. Even for the golden child, the narcissistic parent is strangely in competition with them. They can have so much success and be so grand, but not to outshine the narcissistic parent. The narcissistic parent also creates competition for her attention by demeaning and devaluing her partner or husband. She draws her children to see her husband or partner through her eyes, and thus to see the partner or husband as less than her. The children may come to believe this and begin to see him or her as less than themselves too. He's only good for money, for providing, but otherwise he's so much less than mum. Competition between mum and dad. Or the narcissistic mother may enable her husband, who could be abusive, threatening. She puts him on the throne above her children by turning a blind eye to what he's doing, how he's behaving, and staying with him. So in that sense, choosing him over the children and creating a bit of a competition there, the children's wanting the mother to see their distress, to take some action on their behalf, but they're not doing that. The other parent of the narcissistic mother or father is in the competition, for sure. And what often happens is, in these families, the narcissistic mother will marry the father, and then as soon as the children come along, that's when the discard process begins, because she's got her children now to fulfill her attention needs. The narcissistic parent is so competitive and instills this competitive spirit within her children. She teaches them to show off or to shine brighter than their peer groups. And often I get a bit of a sense of this, in some of what's promoted on social media, shine your light bright, don't give a rat's what anyone else thinks. You're here to, stamp all over them and be big. And, yes, we are meant to shine, but we're meant to radiate, I think, more than sort of blast everybody with our stunning brilliance. I think there's a bit of narcissism mixed up in a lot of it today. So the narcissistic parent puts pressure on her children to outdo their peer group, to win prizes, and praises them, when they publicly achieve attention and admiration. That's the highest thing they can do, is achieve public attention and admiration. Wow. This pleases the parent no end, but not for long, as they become jealous at some point, and then they may punish you for competing with them for attention and admiration. The narcissistic parent wants total control of you for the rest of your life. They want you in this competition for the rest of your life. Thus, for a daughter, and this is interesting, your womb is a threat to her. She's in competition with your womb. And I've done a previous video on that. I'll try and remember to link it at the bottom here. Let me explain a bit further. She never wants you to not be her primary source of supply or support or comfort. She wants you to always be available to her as her mother. And in the narcissistic mother-daughter relationship, there's this, and son relationship, there's this kind of mutual exchange of mothering. So one minute she'll be your mother, but then you have to be her mother in exchange. So she wants you to always be able to be her mother, but if you go on to have children of your own, then you can't really be a mother to her anymore, because you're somebody else's mother. And it's similar with a son. She may have caused you to not want to marry, and may even suggest that your sexual urges are shameful, or sex too, or that marriage is awful, that men are awful, that women are awful, that no woman will love you like your mother does. And why does she do this? Well, because then you won't bond with another person and leave her. She also competes with you for the attention of your friends. She wants to lord it over you, to win, to show you how not like her you are, how not sort of part of the cool club you are, or that you've got some work to do to get to her level. She wants to win over you, but the only thing she has that keeps her on the throne and one up on you, because remember, she's a 3-year-old within. So the only thing that she has to be one up on you is that she is your mother. She's a parent in title. And so she must try to disrupt you from having your own children or stepping up to her level, becoming a parent, as then she feels she has lost all power and she will be exposed for the child that she really is behind the facade, behind the adult facade. Now, the thing is, if you've grown up in a family like this, there is some self-reflecting that we all have to do. The problem is, with all this competing, we take it on too. We're taught to compete within the family. We're taught to compete in relationships, intimate relationships. We're taught to compete with the outside world, that we've got to prove ourselves and shine, brilliantly, in order to get the admiration and attention that means we're successful. So sometimes we start to view others as either above us, like we did the narcissistic parent on the throne, or below us, as the narcissistic parent did. Quite frequently would see other types of people as, a bit less than, beneath them. So we tend to put people on pedestals, and we also tend to reject those that we feel are less than us. So this is really important for our healing journey, is to acknowledge this, that this may be part of our learning that we need to address. We give our attention and admiration to types that are similar to the narcissistic parent at work, in friendship groups, romantic relationships. We hope this time it's going to be different. So, my friends, we must step away from this competition spirit by nipping judgment of others in the bud and becoming less jealous too, catching ourselves when that arises. We must catch ourselves also looking up to somebody, idealizing them, or down at another and rejecting them, not wanting to associate with them. We must remind ourselves we are not less than nor better than anyone. No, we are all equal brothers and sisters. We must go from a win-lose ideology to one of, how can I be of service to my fellow man in this situation, but also how can I be of great service to the world with the skills and talents that are uniquely mine? Yes, the spirit of humble service, of quietly radiating your light, but keeping that focus on the principles of service, not on personalities, which is about attention and admiration. That must not be our drive. And this is what we have to do to break the multi-generational system of narcissism in your family system. And it's a key element. So let go of having to compete. You don't need to anymore. You're not in a race. You will be given all you need. But keep your eyes firmly fixed on the legacy that you wish to leave with your life? How can you be, how can you share your lemonade made from the lemons of your life with the world for, I would say, the glory of God? Thanks, everybody. Please reach out if you'd like to work with me as well. I'm changing things up a little bit at the moment, offering more single sessions of hypnotherapy. And we're going to do a really deep dive in a session of hypnotherapy. It may be slightly more affordable for some people, so do reach out and let's get you free from all of this. Take care, everyone. Bye now.